So, hi, my name is Timothy. I'm honest here. And we like to really talk so deeply about the things we know. Marion, James, I'm going to tell you the things I know. I know it, and you don't. You're in a deficit of knowledge. You're in a need of knowledge, and I have the solution. If I'm honest with myself.
You're good babbling.
Yeah. Feel like Wesley or me at least here, just babbling now. But isn't that our situation? Isn't that the situation in all of Christianity and even among ourselves? Honey, you don't pray enough. Let me tell you, you need to pray. Let me tell you, if you don't pray, let me tell you what's going to happen to you. Let me tell you the pathway that your Christian life is going to take. Let me tell you the level of despair that you'll fall into if you don't pray. Let me tell you how to pray. Let me give you the 5 ways that you need to learn how to pray. Let me develop these 5 ways of prayer within you. Now, let's practice these 5 ways of prayer together. Now, we need to do this 5 times a day with the 5 ways of prayer together. Now, you need to take these 5 ways of prayer that you've learned from me, and you need to go disciple somebody else. Go disciple Sarah, because she doesn't know how to pray.
And she's such a submissive one. She's like...
And then, honey, I'm so happy I could fellowship with you.
Wow.
Isn't that our situation? Isn't that the situation? Isn't that the situation?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
That is. That's really sad. And even to go a little bit further, you begin to doubt your experience of prayer because of how I just handled you.
Wow.
And now what's more is you now, because of your doubting of your touch with Christ, now you don't know really how to shepherd Sarah.
Yeah.
Now you do the only thing you know how to do now is just replicate what I just did to you. So now Sarah begins to doubt her experience. Wasn't there a verse in Matthew, right, Enoch? You shared this verse with me. You Pharisees, you prevent others from entering into the kingdom, and you yourself do not enter in. But instead, you produce sons of hell double than yourself. Double than yourself. We don't realize the damage that is done in the name of fellowship. It's terrible. Okay. So, Oren was a gracious victim, led to the slaughter today. So that's not what you do, brother. You're so good. You're so good. And then we like to talk about things, right? We like to list all the bullet points, and we like to develop all the outlines. So I just shot myself in the foot here. Go ahead and roll up this outline and throw it away. This is not fellowship. This is not fellowship. This is an outline. I want us to be very clear. This is not fellowship. This is an outline. And then we like to really develop all the things that we think we know. And then maybe it's along the lines of adequate doctrine. But then don't you leave feeling so dry? Really? Really? Don't you leave feeling just like, I'm tired. I'm going to go home and sleep because I just don't really want to enjoy the Lord right now. Lord, I'll catch you later this evening. This brother killed me today.
Wow.
Right? And then you go home and you don't even want to go back in touch with other people because you just know what's going to happen the next time you're around them. You're going to get drained again. You're going to get tired. You're going to feel sluggish with your Christian life, and you're going to feel like, man, I just feel a little confused now. I just feel like I don't really have like a handle on a next step that I can take with the Lord. And what's more is I don't even feel empowered or strengthened to take a step, even if I had a clear direction. Even if the brother told me exactly what I need to hear in the meeting, and now I know exactly the next step that I need to do to advance with the Lord. I'm sorry, Lord, I just don't have the strength.
It can get worse than that too. Like
Yo,
you eventually have to stay. I don't even care.
yeah. You eventually lose all interest.
Very severe.
Very severe.
Because like Paul said, when you were saying that, I thought of this verse. And
Yeah.
You know what you said before. He tells the church in Corinth,
Yeah.
now I'm giving these instructions. I do not praise you, since you come together not for the better, but for the worse.
For the worse.
Wow.
So you get, and I started picking that up before I started coming here. After years of being in traditional church, I would leave. Very actually like what was what you used?
Tired.
Tired, kind of like
Empty.
empty, and
Yeah.
lonely, and depressed. And,
Yeah.
but so you can get together, and it might not be for the better.
Yeah. And when you look at Corinthians, this is a great example, because when you look at Corinthians, didn't Paul say, you're enriched with all knowledge and all spiritual gifts? You're enriched. Isn't that incredible that in a setting like the church in Corinth, they could be enriched with all knowledge.
Right.
They could be enriched with all the spiritual gifts.
Wow.
That sounds like a really good church life, right? A really good church life. And then that verse Oscar just pulled up. When you come together, it's not even for the better, but it's for the worse. And then it goes even further. It's reported that among you there are divisions. The Greek word for division is heresies. Separations. And Paul says, in part, I believe it because that has to happen to prove the faithful.
Right.
But that's not something to be praised. When Paul looked at that church life, he thought, wow, there's nothing that the saints are benefiting from. Not a single thing. And then imagine that as soon as Roxana stopped listening to the message that was being given, she stopped listening to it, she just took a drink. More happened within her after taking a drink. Without even knowing it, more happened within her than any amount of listening to Oren ever produced. In 4 hours, that's going to make a difference in her day. She's going to not feel thirsty 4 hours later because she took those drinks. But listening to Oren, she became an expert. She became a PhD. She became the top PhD researcher on all the aspects of water. And even she became so specialized in water that she even found out just how not heavy that water is. She went all the way. She could have gone all the way and discovered all the different tangents of knowledge about how not heavy it is, and how clear the water is, and how liquid the water is. And then she could have produced research and put out a book.
And then get a second PhD.
And then you get a second PhD. Because the first one was not enough. Now she has to get a PhD in the glass that contains the water. Jeez.
Wow. That sounds,
Just,
that sounds exhausting.
isn't it? And then nobody wants to read her books. Nobody wants to read those books. I don't. Sorry. I don't want to read a book that you put out on the glass. Unless you're using it as an analogy for something clever, then maybe I'll read it. But it's exhausting. And then everybody, you read it because you're specialized. So 3 people in the world will read her research. 3 people in the world will care about it, and it still benefits them nothing. But now, all of a sudden, Roxana, when she took the water, within her is more is happening within her than she even knows what to talk about. She can't tell you what's going on in her kidneys. Maybe she could because she's a nurse. But she's not going to be able to tell you right this second, this kidney is filtering out this particle of toxin because of the sip of water I took. No! She's just healthy. And she's having a much better day than before because now she's well hydrated.
The best part, the water knows what to do when it goes in her body.
It knows exactly what to
The
do.
water knows what to do.
The life within her takes over, and does all sorts of things that she can't even tell. And we can't tell either. And I could say, Roxana, I know you took that drink of water, but I can't really see what's going on. I think I need some kind of manifestation of what that water's doing within you. I need to, if I don't see what's happening with the water, I don't believe it's going on inside of you. I don't believe the water is in you. I believe you need to take another drink of water and tell me how you feel then. I need you to go get a couple glasses of water. I need you to pour the water on yourself. I need you, we get so funny.
Right.
All of a sudden, I'm asking her to prove to me what's going on within her. That's stupid.
Yeah.
It's stupid to the uttermost. But isn't it so good that when Roxana took the drink of water, we don't even have to talk about it. We drink water all the time. You don't talk about it. You don't flex your muscles because you took a sip of water. No, you just take a sip of water and you carry on throughout your day. Okay. Fellowship. Fellowship of water. Let's turn to fellowship of life. Fellowship of life. Life. The fellowship of life. Right? Isn't it sad, Marion? You said it's sad. That's so sad. That could be our condition, even in our spiritual life. That we could examine one another. That's what the Corinthians did to Paul. They were examining him. Oh, this brother is contemptible in speech. He's weighty in words with his letters, but when he's among us, he's feeble and weak, despisable. No power, no demonstration of miraculous gifts. Who's this Paul to come rebuke us in his letters? Who is he when he's among us? Paul says, you examine me? You examine me? Examine this among yourselves. Is Jesus Christ in you? Judge me? Judge yourselves. Is Jesus Christ in you? So Paul was very strong with this church because the church in Corinth was just so off with their apprehension of spiritual truth. We think because we can list an outline, and because we can read all the spiritual books, and because we can recite the verses, and we know how the verses relate to one another, that amounts to knowing spiritual things. Paul's like, you have no idea. The kingdom of God does not exist in words, but in power. What is that power? That power is, what is the life doing within you? What is the life doing in me? And then Paul, man, okay, why don't we read this outline? We'll kind of go